Hi. So I have about, I think I have 2 more weeks left with my short hair. And then my long hair is coming back. I do miss it ever so. I really do. This is cute and all, but I feel bald. I feel bald. I do. How did I end up like this, you ask? Well, let me share my story. So, I realized I was born with the wrong hair color, like many ladies. I was supposed to be blonde. I am supposed to be a blonde bombshell. Yes, that's right. And I wasn't. I was born with this hair color. It was dark brown. So, at a very early age, I thought, let's start my blonde journey. And I was introduced to the beauty and the magic that is hair bleach. I started doing it small with getting little highlights here, little highlights there. And then I went for the full Ubangi and just did my roots, my whole head, and was blonde. And then as I got older, I was introduced to the magic that is a weave. That's right. I was the only white girl at a black hair salon in Hempstead, New York, where I went to college. I went to college out there, and I was introduced to this lovely thing called weaves, because as you can see, I don't have very thick hair. I have thin hair. So I was introduced, you know what, actually looking back at it, I think I was in one of my film studies courses, and one of my friends was black, and she was like, girl, wait, I'm going to get really a lot of hate comments for that. Maybe not. Whatever. Screw it, right? Who cares? Lighten up, people. Have some fun. My girlfriend was like, girl, your hair is thin, but it's perfect if you want to have more volume and more hair for a weave. And I was like, okay, what's a weave? And she's like, here, let me show you. And she bent her head down like this, and she's like, feel it. And I felt all these braids in her hair, right? And she's like, all you have to do is go to a beauty supply store where they sell hair, and you can get whatever kind of hair you want, wavy, curly, whatever, and they'll braid your hair, and then they'll sew it in, and you'll have thick hair, and you can be like me and have all kinds of styles. And this was probably 1999, 2000s. This was before extensions and fancy wigs and stuff. That wasn't accepted back then. Wigs have actually become semi-acceptable now, which is pretty badass. I like that. Because there's a lot of people that need wigs and hair that isn't just for vanity reasons. If you're going through cancer or something and you want to have more hair, you can get some amazing wigs now. And they're much more realistic. But I digress. So I went into this salon in this area, which was considered a black area. It was a black salon. I was the only white girl that would go in there every, I think, 2 months. And I would buy my blonde hair, it wasn't that expensive back then, but I would buy long blonde hair, go into the salon, the only white girl. I would walk in there. I would have my hairstylist. She would braid me up, which killed. When you get those braids, and she had those 10 feet long, that's an exaggeration. She had those huge nails that were claws. So when she was doing my braids for the rows before she would put my hair in, she was digging into my scalp. It was such torture, but pain is beauty. And I would go there, and there would be this guy who would be selling food on the street, who would always come into the salon, which generally I think would be considered soliciting, but he had a good relationship with the owner or something. But anyway, so he would come in halfway through. I was getting my hair done because it would take all day. I would probably go on a Saturday, and he would be selling chitlins and all kinds of food. It was so gross. I think he had goat once, and we became really good friends, and I actually really loved them. And it actually was not as expensive as you might think. I think my whole head of hair was $80. But it lasted me a couple months, which I kept it in way too long. So it got really gross. I think there was a hamster in there once. And I had full hair, and it was amazing. And I was like, I am never, ever not going to have extensions in my hair. I just felt more confident. I felt more pretty. But then after doing that for a while, obviously, I had to maintain my roots because I wanted to be blonde. Sometimes I would have black underneath, but I would want to change it up. But I love just primarily being blonde. So you know, after years and years and years of going in to get my roots touched up, eventually my hair broke and breaks because I think I was doing it probably too frequently. But that happens. And then my hair started like sticking up in all kinds of weird places and directions, and no matter how much hairspray I put in it, it still stood up. So eventually I decided to take a break. I moved on to the U-tip extensions, which is the ones that I think I'm going to go back to. Tape-ins, I know, are a cool thing, but they're also really expensive, and I can't afford that. And they make your hair look really thick, which is good. But I think I'm going to just stick with the U-tips because they're still semi-affordable. And I actually have the tool at home, so I can do them myself. But I don't trust myself with bleaching my hair and my roots anymore. So anyway, so I took a break. Years and years and years of the bleaching. The hair was just falling out. So you guys saw me if you've been following me for a while. I just shaved off the front end of my head. I shaved off my bang area. Because I was like, screw this. My hair is growing in like all kinds of weird directions and, you know, but it grew back and my bangs are kind of okay now. They're sort of back, but there's a lot of hairspray and stuff in there to make it look like that. But then eventually my hair, I realized it needed a break from all the extensions. So I just pulled them all out myself and a lot of hair came with it. But I couldn't afford to just sit there for like 10 hours and, you know, have somebody like, it kills to get those things taken out. So just like over days, eventually I got them all out. And then my hair was just short, so I chopped it myself because there was just a lot of like strangly dead hair. And I was left with this. So a lot of those people, a lot of these like famous people that you see that have this like gorgeously thick blonde hair, whatever, this is what their hair looks like underneath. This is what it looks like underneath. That is not their real hair. I'm showing you the truth. Eventually I did start doing my roots again when my bangs grew back enough. But I think next week or the week after I'm going to get some extensions put back in and get my roots done. But this is what happens because we want to be blonde. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. And this has felt like, I feel like I'm barely vain enough. So it's okay for me to have like my thing be my hair. But you know, it's okay, but it's kind of like boring and it's little and anyway, so I was the only white girl at this black salon. They were so cool. I had a good time. It was fun. They never treated me any differently. In fact, we always laughed about it because I think back then it was, well, yeah, it was. It wasn't as like uptight and overly PC as it is right now regarding like skin tone and racism, and you can't say anything now, you know? And I know that for a fact because I've been censored, but you can't talk about anything now without offending somebody. But back then, I mean, my God, they could have said so much. They could have refused business because I was this white girl coming into this primarily black establishment and business, getting some weave in my hair and thinking, you know, that's fine. And they were like, girl, we don't care. You have money. You have hair. Let's do this. And that was probably the only good memory I have of being in college. So, you know, if you're a white girl right now, and they know their hair. The black ladies know their hair. They know how to do it because they've been doing it for years with the weave especially. But then when I ditched the braids and the rows, because my whole head would itch, it would itch and it would get gross. I'm not going to lie. Like, it would smell. And you're so tempted to keep those things in your head for a long time because it's so convenient and easy and it looks good. And I didn't have to worry about like straightening my hair anymore because it's naturally curly. But yeah, like I said, I would keep it in way too long. And there was like a hamster in there named Todd. I think there was a gerbil named Philip at some point. It was gross. It was seriously gross. But I did it. And like in the late 90s, that was the way you got thick hair, was you got like weaves sewn into your head. But just like even saying that back now, it's like, wow, ouch, sewn into my head, right? Anyway, good memories, good times for good hair.